Hi everybody, I am happy to be here with you in week 3 of English 3010 online class, coming to you live from my home office. And I apologize for the sound quality of my voice in this week's video, but I am a little bit under the weather today. So I will make it through as best I can in all my sick glory. But I do want to make this video today because there's a lot to talk about. This week, you guys are finishing up drafting your website for your Project 1. There's peer review this week, and there's a reflection journal that specifically points you to your portfolio. So those are the 3 main things that I want to focus on in this video. I want to talk to you guys about your final draft for Project 1. I want to talk to you guys about peer review and how I expect peer review to go in our class, even though it's online. And I do want to talk briefly about our portfolios. I sent that link out earlier today. So it's a lot to talk about. Let's hope my voice holds out. I'm going to switch over to our Canvas view and we'll get started. Okay, so here we are in our week 3 activities page. This week we are continuing to draft your digital research guides. We're going to share our writing with each other via peer review. And then we're going to do some revision. So there's some method to the madness of how things are set up in terms of quote-unquote due dates this week. But we'll talk about that in a second. So in terms of weekly assignments, it might feel like it's on the lighter side this week because there's just one thing to watch, the week 3 video, which you're already doing. High five. I want you guys to read the following. It's just a quick blog about 9 essential principles for good web design. And I'm hoping that this will help you when you're working on your final drafts and your rough drafts for this Project 1. I have that pulled up. I want to get into it a little bit in a second, but going on through our weekly assignments, really it's just drafting. Compose a full draft of your digital research guide. Post a link to it in the discussion thread. I put on here by Wednesday. Now, as you know, we usually have a due date, a hard deadline of by Sunday. So why did I make the deadline Wednesday for your rough drafts? Well, because I wanted to give you guys enough time to do peer review, right? So PB4, Project Builder 4, is the peer review thread. Now, in the past, some students have lost points on that because they just post their draft and then they're done. But if you look closely, and we're going to look at the prompt in a minute, the PB4, and anytime I ask you guys to do peer review, it's going to ask you to also give feedback. So that's part of the points of participating in peer review. Again, we'll talk about that more in a second. And here it is. Write some comments to at least 2 of your classmates. We're going to talk a little bit about what kinds of comments you want to be writing. So here's our week at a glance. By Wednesday-ish, watch your week 3 video, look over the 9 principles of good web design, and post your draft. Now, it is not too crazy. It's not going to be the end of the world if you post your draft by Thursday. It's not even going to be catastrophic if you post it by Friday. But try to post it this week sometime by Friday. So the goal is Wednesday so that you can really get some good feedback. No later than Friday because I want you guys to have enough time to receive feedback, to give feedback, so that you can do revisions Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Method to the madness. So by Friday, you want to shoot to at least read 2 classmates' research guides, as they'll post their links to it, and give some comments on that. Now, Sunday night, 11:59 p.m., Project 1 is due. Project 1, of course, is the actual website that you're building. So in the project, like 1 assignment, obviously you can't paste an entire website into the box. It's going to be a link that you paste and upload into the assignment box. But also I want everyone to take note that there is another assignment due on Sunday, and that is Reflection Journal 2. Reflection Journal 2 is designed to be written after you've completed Project 1. So just kind of bookmark that in your brain. Okay, so let's move forward here. I want to talk to you guys about peer review. So this is the peer review discussion prompt. To get full credit on this, you need to have the full draft of your website ready to paste into the discussion. You want to post the link into the forum, and you need to give feedback. So please read and give feedback to at least 2 classmates. The prompt here says, give attention to all orders of concern: high order, middle order, and lower order. Okay? And you can read here some of my suggestions for things to look at. But if you're in this class and you have never taken a writing class with me before, I figure you might need a refresher on what are the orders of concern. So I have them posted here. All right, don't allow that. Make that bigger. So the levels of concern that I'm talking about are higher order concerns, sometimes I call them HOCs, middle order concerns, I call them MOCs, lower order concerns, you get the idea. HOCs, MOCs, and LOCs basically asks you to look at a piece in very specific ways, like 3 basic levels. The higher order concerns are the big picture stuff. How well does it address the assignment? How well does it fulfill the genre? So we're looking at the genre of a website. So does it look professional? It should, especially if we've been using these templates or platforms like Wix or Weebly or WordPress or whatever. Is it correctly addressing the audience? Remember, your rhetorical situation for Project 1 is that you're trying to address an audience who doesn't know much or maybe anything about your chosen discourse community. So how well does it address the audience? How well does it present the rhetor's ethos? So you're creating this website, how well does it present your ethos as somebody who is either already a part of this discourse community or is learning, is a scholar of this discourse community? So middle order concerns, this is where we get into like the paragraph and transition level stuff. So this is looking for hyperlinks as evidence or specific examples of perhaps a type of writing that you're trying to talk about, a journal, transitions between sections, voice and style. These are all middle order concerns. Lower order concerns, this is where we get into grammar, punctuation, spelling. Lower order concerns are sometimes tricky for peeps, and I don't want you to feel like you have to be the expert in lower order concerns, but just read as a reader. As just an audience member, if you catch something, make a note of it. Or even if you're not sure like what the rule is, just note it for your friend, your colleague, so that they can take a look at it. Maybe they need to look up the rule themselves. So these 3 orders of concern, HOCs, MOCs, and LOCs, are all things that I expect us to be addressing for each other throughout the semester. So whether it's the Project 1 website, the Project 2 genre analysis, Project 3 lit review, etc., we want to be giving each other holistic feedback, right? How annoying is it if you only get feedback on grammar and there's nothing about the content or the transitions? So this is how I'm expecting peer review to go for us in these discussion threads. Okay, so let's look now at the final draft assignment prompt. So this is stuff that I've taken straight from the Project 1 assignment description that we looked at in week 1. You need your website. It needs to be about 3 to 4 pages, maybe more if you have more information to share. It definitely needs to address Swales' 6 characteristics. And there are some guidelines here for what the definition should be, what you need to have in terms of sentences that preview the types of communication in your discourse community. You definitely do need to have some specific examples, not just broad categories. Like saying articles or websites doesn't mean anything, probably to a lot of people, but you want to provide some specific examples, maybe through hyperlinks or through screen captured images. This will help make your website more dynamic, which we'll talk about in a second, but it will also fulfill the evidence portion for the claims that you're making. You want to make sure that you have a description of the major topics of conversation in this discourse community. So what this means is, what do people argue about? What are the points of controversy? What are the issues that arise in the discourse community that people are trying to address, or problems that people in the discourse community are trying to solve? All right, so that kind of goes over this final draft. I want to take a minute to look at these 9 essential principles. I'm not going to go through them all, but I just wanted to draw your attention to this reading because I'm not having us do a reading response just for this one blog post, but I am expecting to see that you guys are taking up the principles outlined here and executing them in your website. So, in other words, I am looking for principles of good web design in your final projects. I want you to guide the reader's eye through elements on the site. You want to consider the position of images or links or text. You want to consider your color scheme and make sure it's legible, number 1, and that it makes sense and coheres with your entire topic. Making sure that contrast and size of images relative to the background, or contrast of text and the size of text relative to the background, makes sense and is legible. And other design elements that help people navigate through the frame of an image. So as you go through, this article is going to take you deeper into how people navigate through a website, how you want to build something, which is not so much our focus here because I'm letting you guys use templates. But there's a whole lot of info here on typography, usability. So please take these things into consideration when you are making your website. Okay, so the final thing that I want to talk to you guys about is your portfolio. Several of you have already clicked on the link that I sent out, which is awesome. Way to go. If you haven't, just make sure that you check it out. I want to talk to you about what the portfolio is and why it's there. So as you will note when you open up your email from me, I have shared with you a folder in OneDrive. And when you open up your folder, it's named with your Access ID, okay? So when you open up the folder that's titled with your Access ID, you'll see that there are several folders here with P's in the name. P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and then a final folder that says Process Work. And what you're meant to do with these folders is, maybe this is intuitive, maybe not, but it's divided up by project. So P1 is Project 1. And you'll put a link to your website in there, including any draft work or feedback that you got on your drafts, okay? The Process Work folder is for any small assignments, smaller pieces of writing, handwritten, digitally composed, turned into Canvas, whatever, that might also help you. The point of this whole portfolio, so the question comes up, will help us do what? The whole portfolio is intended to demonstrate how you have grown in the course learning outcomes when we get to Project 5. So me giving this to you now is really useful for you because now I'm going to be prompting you all throughout the semester, including the reflection journal that you're going to do on Sunday. I'm going to ask you guys to pause at various moments to upload to this portfolio any piece of writing from that project that you feel like demonstrates your growth in reading, writing, researching, or reflecting. Does that make sense? So you can put it in the project folder, and you do at least want to have the final draft of each project in each project folder. You can put it in process work, whatever organization makes sense to you, but you do want to be adding to this throughout the semester. If you have any questions about this, or if for some reason you weren't able to access the link to your folder, just shoot me an email because I want you guys to have access to your folders throughout the semester so that you can be gradually adding to it as things pop up for you. Like, oh man, this really helped me with my academic reading, or this really showed me a lot about how to write within my discourse community. Then you can upload it to your portfolio. Okay, so I think that about does it for our week 3 video. Please shoot me an email if you have any questions as you're drafting, giving peer review, and tidying up your final draft of Project 1. 2 other things to note. First, Rayanne has an updated profile. So under the home page of Canvas, if you check out Peer Mentor Profile, you can see her updated info, just kind of giving an overview about who she is and her status here at Wayne State, and just lots of good stuff about her as a peer mentor. Thing number 2 is that she just recently posted an announcement for you guys. And in part of that announcement, she sent you guys the link to join GroupMe, which is an awesome app. It's a great way for our class to communicate and to kind of function in a more casual environment. And Rayanne, our peer mentor, is the, what do you call that? She runs it. So you can ask questions of Rayanne. You can ask questions of each other, and if Rayanne doesn't know the answer, she will get with me, and then she'll take that answer back to you. So it's a really great way to just kind of get casual comments or questions answered real quick. I highly recommend joining the GroupMe. Okay, I think this is about as far as my voice is going to carry me today. I wish you guys the best as you are drafting and doing peer review and getting your Project 1s squared away. Of course, shoot me an email if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye everybody.